everyone. Hey, everybody. Hello, happy Tuesday. I'm so excited to be here today. It is time for Verified by Dan Franklin, where I don't just report the news, but I verify it. I do want to start, and I always want to cite my source. So we're going to do a hug today. And I shout out to Patty Johnson in Philly, who does a hug at the beginning of all of her videos. And so we're going to do a virtual hug today, too, because I like hugging, too. That's why I love Patty Johnson. So we're going to hug, and we're going to get into the topics today. There we go. All right. So, of course, I also have my lovely co-host. She's not on film today, but Maddie is in the building. If we had some audio claps, we would do a little clap for Maddie. When she heard me get excited, you can hear that's Maddie shaking her stuff. She's right here, but she says hi, everyone, and she is in the building. How's everybody doing today? I had the craziest long weekend. My cousin was in town this weekend from South Florida, as all of you know, because I talk about all the time. I'm from Miami, Florida. Well, I'm from Broward, but I've lived in Broward and Miami. I've even lived in West Palm Beach. I lived in West Palm Beach for about 2 months in Jupiter, Florida. So I pretty much I get around. And not literally, but my cousin who lives in Fort Lauderdale was in town in Orlando. And we had a really good time. We hung out for a little bit. And it was just good vibes, as always, because I always bring the vibes. I'm always here for the vibes. 1 second, I did not email my script to myself because I'm utilizing my laptop and then I'm also using my phone. Perfect, I just got it. So let's go. So I have my talking points. So excitingly enough, there's so much going on today. And I'm so glad you guys are here with me today. It's honestly a privilege anytime I can be here with you. And it's a privilege that you take the time to watch my content. So I just want to put that out there. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much for liking my content. Thank you so much for every comment. Thank you for reaching out to me. Thank you for your feedback. So for those of you who actually give me feedback on the videos, I really appreciate it. I always take it into consideration within the context of my strategy and try to apply it in a way that's going to edify the video, because I believe we're all busy. We all got things going on. The reason that you tell me stuff is because you want it to be better, and I really appreciate that. So thank you. All right, the first thing that I want to talk about, and I already did a video about it, and I'm a little bit behind on some of the content that I want to put out this week. The first thing is congratulations to Taylor Swift. Yay! Whenever Maddie has her tongue out like this, that means she's excited. So congratulations to Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is also Maddie's best friend's mother's favorite artist. Her name is Eileen, and she's a neighbor, an old neighbor, but now a friend. And so the first thing I thought when I saw that Taylor Swift was getting married, I said, oh my God, I'm texting Eileen, and I'm going to be like, congratulations. And when I went to her Instagram, she was already posting all this stuff about it. So anyway, needless to say, the Swifties are excited. And even if you're not a Swiftie, I think it's exciting when people get married. And whether or not you're a Swiftie or not, for God's sakes, you should know who the fuck, you should know who Taylor Swift is. I mean, she's a huge artist. She's not like some random up-and-coming artist. She's been around for over 10 years. She's well-established. She's one of the top-selling female artists, in history. And yeah, at least you should know who she is, whether you're a fan or not. So congratulations to her and Travis on their new engagement. The photos are beautiful. So the way I found out, just like most of you, I have a few Instagrams, and one of my Instagrams is strictly focused on pop culture. So I'm following all of the major news outlets. And so I saw them posting it. And then, of course, I went to her page where she had all the photos. The ring is gorgeous. The dress is already trending that she was in when she was proposed to. I don't know any details about that, but the dress is definitely trending. I did see that. So congrats. All I have to say is congrats to them. More details to come. I definitely want to be invited. I doubt I will, but I would love to be invited to the wedding. Maybe they'll do it like at the Super Bowl. Oh, and that goes back to what I was talking about. Who knows? Does this affect whether or not she'll do the Super Bowl? I don't know. But if that would be amazing. Imagine a year where Taylor Swift has a new album out. She's engaged, gets married, she does the Super Bowl and goes on tour. Whoa, to be a Swiftie in this era, I can't. But anyway, that's that on that. Also, okay, next topic. Let's talk about Tamar Braxton. I told y'all how I feel about Tamar. Tamar is just problematic. She is the problematic cousin, auntie, friend, neighbor that you love, but you also, they get on your nerves. And that is who Tamar Braxton is. To me, you can think whatever you want about it. This is so good, by the way. Maybe I can get a sponsorship. I mean, literally tastes like a Jolly Rancher. It's probably not a good thing. I'm double fisting it here. Energy drink and water. But anyway, Tamar Braxton is very problematic. Like I said before, I started listening to her, became a fan of her from the Braxton Family's Value show. Then then I was like in love with her and Vince, her husband at the time, Vince Herbert. And then they would have their little show on We Television. And then they would do the Braxton Family's Value. And then she came out with an album. And Love and War is honestly within my top 10 R&B R&B songs ever. So when I think about R&B songs like, SWV, I'm trying to think of that, Weak in the Knees, Tevin Campbell, like my top 10 R&B songs. For me, I'm not speaking for no one else, but for me, Love and War is up there. It is a great song, and I forget his last name, but the late writer Daniel, I think his name was Daniels, I forget his last name. He wrote the song. He wrote a lot of great songs. He worked with Dark Child back in the day. So he wrote that song, and it's a great song. It's a classic to me. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree. But Tamar is definitely talented in her own right. I think she can be her voice can be interesting at times from a technique perspective. She can do too much, and I think she can master some of those things, but I think she's talented. She's entertaining. One thing about the girl knows how to get attention. This girl went from, posting that she was injured, allegedly, and her teeth were messed up and she needed reconstructive surgery, till then there was this conversation about potentially Funky Dineva being in it, and Funky put out all these videos, which I would love to do some shorts about. I'm going to try to get to those this week, but Funky did some shorts kind of poking fun of the situation because people were alleging that he was involved in it. But what's come out is apparently, and then Tamar came back out and just act like it didn't happen. It's like, you can't go from telling us you were injured, we don't really know the context in which you were injured, and just like business as usual. But that's Tamar. That's why I say she's problematic. Check out, hold on, shout out to my brows. I want you guys to go back to my old videos and see how I did not have brows, because I'm a 90s kid, and back in the 90s, you would just pluck the shit out of your brows. Like, baby, you just needed a line. We were just like, a line was a brow. To fast forward to like the last 10 years, 5 years, everybody wanted a bushy brow. And I had done pluck the shit out of my brows to, baby, I didn't have nothing. My brows were like, when you get a chicken wing and there's like one like feather stuck on the chicken wing, that's how my brows were. There were just no brows there. So I've been working on growing them by utilizing Rogaine, different products for your brows. I've had them microneedled. But yeah, they're kind of like, and then I stopped overly plucking them. So they're kind of like, they're here. They're saying hello. But shout out to the brows today because I wanted to make sure they were popping. They were pop locking and dropping, and I think they are. They're not perfect, so don't look too hard. But they're definitely there versus like a little line because that's what could be there. Because styles change, even the way we look and what's popular, it changes every 10 to 20 years. So what we may be doing today that's like in won't be in 10 years, won't be in 20 years. So don't go too extreme is the reason I say that. If you're a young person, don't go to, here's a little bit of uncle wisdom. Don't go too extreme with any style, with any trend, because it's a trend. It may not be in, and then now you're looking crazy. And you never want to not have hair or have no brows. I'd rather have brows that I could do something with than no brows because I can always make them thinner if that comes back. Hopefully not. I hope those days are over. But anyway, apparently there is, and this is unconfirmed. So I want to say that again, I verify the things that I share. If I'm saying something that I don't know if it's been verified, I won't say it's verified. But there are some alleged whisperings that Tamar Braxton is having some type of relationship with the guy from, from Love and Hip Hop, Mendeezy. I may not be saying his name right, but anyway, who, we all know. I've never even watched a show, but I know a little bit about the characters or the cast members. So I know about his relationship with his, I don't know, they say they're not married, they may be married, whatever. But they're saying they're having a relationship, but there are also reports that the reason that they've been hanging out is because they did a film together. I don't know what's true. I do know that Tamar's been working on a film. I don't know the details of who's in it. I have not had time to research that, but he supposedly or allegedly is in it, and that's why they're together. But there's rumors that they're dating. But there were rumors that, Funky Dineva was involved with her alleged injuries. So we don't know if that's true. But one thing I will say about Tamar knows how to stay in the headlines. When I do a video on Tamar, it gets views, it gets traction. People, even if they don't like her, they're just interested in what's going on with her. So whatever she has done, she's been able to create a brand where people, whether they hate her or like her, they want to be in her business. And she knows that and she leverages it. So shout out to Tamar for that. I would love to meet Tamar one day and hang out with Tamar one day because I think Tamar is a mess. But I mean that in the most positive way. But she is a mess. And I actually would like to know, does she realize she does, like, the way in which she navigates social media and how she gets everyone like riled up? Does she know she's doing that, or does she not realize she's doing that? I'm just curious. Or is she strategic in the way that she knows exactly what the fuck she's doing and she's doing intentional? I would love to know that because she is good at that. She could do a masterclass on that. All right. Next story, if you're interested, you may not be interested. Raven-Symoné has a podcast with her wife. Her wife is a white woman, which is fine. I am, I love the people. We're a rainbow. Everybody loves everyone. I want everyone to love each other. I think the reason that it's even being brought up is there might be some cultural or there may be some unspoken understandings that, different people have. I mean, even in the Black culture, Black people are not monolithic. So like, we don't all think the same. We don't all do the same. We don't all like the same things. And so there's been some chatter about recent comments in their podcast that make people think there may be trouble in, I don't know if we would call their marriage paradise, but within their relationship. Specifically being that Raven and her have done several interviews and shows, and it seems to be, and I'm not putting the clips in. I hope to eventually add the clips to what I'm talking about. I'm not there yet. I'm not that cool. Let me see. One day I'm just going to play on here and see if I can do it myself. Because maybe I can add them and I don't even know that I can do that. I'm literally learning stuff as I go. But Raven basically, while her wife is speaking, at times she makes these funny ass facial expressions. that whether or not the wife realized it, we're all like, we know exactly what Raven's thinking in that moment, or we can project very easily what we think Raven is thinking or saying in that moment. So it's just been really interesting, really fun to watch it. But apparently recently there was an interview and her wife mentions. Now, okay, I want to preface this. Raven-Symoné is, especially in the Black community, she is a cultural icon. I mean, she's been on television since she was 3 years old on the famous show, The Cosby Show, which was a cultural phenomenon on television and especially in the Black community. So I grew up knowing who Raven-Symoné was. Then she went off to do various movies on Disney. She had the Cheetah Girls franchise that was super successful. I did not watch the Cheetah Girls because, baby, when the Cheetah Girls came out, I had a mortgage. And I'm not watching no Cheetah Girls, and the lights and stuff are due. But, people watch it. And also, That's So Raven, which I think I watched a little bit of that because I was kind of on the cusp of being an adult when that came out. And I used to watch it with my little sister, Francesca. Shout out to Francesca, keeping me young. But I mainly knew her, and oh my God, I almost forgot. The View. Raven was on The View. She said a lot of weird shit on The View. And we cannot forget the infamous Oprah Winfrey interview where she goes, I am an American. I'm sick of being called a Black American. I'm an American. And I understood what she was saying, but it did not land well. And I'm not going to go into that right now. It didn't land with the masses because I do think that the way in which she said it so flippantly was just like unrealistic to the real realities of the average Black American. Okay. But I understood what she was trying to say. She was like, hey, I don't want to be called an African American. I'm just an American, which I totally get. But given the way the political climate and what was going on in the world, it seemed very disconnected from what the average Black American is dealing with. And it seemed like, yeah, we understand you're living in your, life that is very different from the average Black American. So it's easy for you to say that. But, there are Black people that have to be very conscious. Their experiences, they're reminded every day that they're Black, not just that they're Black Americans. Anyway, that's another conversation. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not in my African American studies bag today. Shout out to Kimberly Foster. But yeah, so Raven-Symoné's wife mentioned that, one, she did not know who Raven-Symoné was when she married her, which is like crazy because, as a Black person, I'm like, I've known Raven since I was a kid, as far as had a parasocial relationship with her as an actress. So that was one. I was like, okay, like, how did you not know The Cosby Show? That's like not knowing Full House or like I forget the name of the twins, but, knowing Full House and the twins and, these major like shows that even if you didn't watch them, they were just such big shows. You knew about them. You knew about the characters. That's weird. And she also said, people assumed I was Jewish. She said this. I did not say this because I have more money than Raven. Let me be clear. I don't know this lady's tax bracket. I don't know Raven's tax. I don't know how much Raven is worth. And I'm not going to Google it because those are not accurate. Those like, what is someone worth? And they tell you like an estimate. Those are not accurate, just so you know. However, she said this, Raven made some faces but did not say anything, given like Raven's a good spouse because she did not put her wife out there in that moment. She didn't rebuttal. She didn't defend or whatever. She just let her say and have her moment. And we don't know, maybe they talked offline, but it was very clear based off Raven's facial expression. She was just looking like, really? Or like, girl, what the fuck are you talking about? But yeah, that happened. But a lot of people are thinking because of these clips, there might be some issues, or maybe that Raven's wife is becoming conscious or intimidated by Raven's success. And realizing like, no, I don't know. I don't know who knew her. I want to say this. I don't know y'all girls. So if you knew Raven's wife beforehand and that's why you're watching their podcast, then baby, you knew the lady beforehand. Now, if you did not know the lady beforehand like me, because I don't know that lady, I'm like, remember when, oh my God, what's her name? Keke Palmer was doing the when she says, I don't know this man, sorry to this man. I never knew this white lady. With all due respect to the white people, I never knew this lady prior to her marrying Raven. So I don't know you, ma'am. I never knew you, and I would not be interested in your podcast if you were not attached to Raven. I'll be honest with you. That is the only reason I know you exist, care that you exist, with all due respect. I mean that. And I'm sorry, that I don't care about random people like that, but I just don't know you. And so I wasn't like looking for you, checking for you, but I do know who Raven-Symoné is. And I'm curious in Raven-Symoné whether I agree with all of her thoughts and things. Like Raven is like, I've known Ray. I feel like I've known like Raven's like your cousin that lives in another state that you see every now. That's how I feel about Raven. Baby, I don't know you. So keep it cute. Wrap it up. Because we don't know you. Okay, moving on to the next story. I'm so excited about Doja Cat's new albums, her 80s theme single, which has already surpassed the most listened to rap song by a female rap artist in history. I think she surpassed Nicki Minaj, who is the GOAT, the female rap GOAT, but she is doing her numbers. I love Doja Cat, even though, yes, there are some problematic things about her past, some, things she said that were anti-Black, and I'm not going to get into that. Do your own research. We're not going to talk about that right now, but she's made comments and done things that were like weird. There was that recent situation where, she was like, she was fanning out with a fan, being all like excited to see him. The guy she goes, oh my God, I love your shirt. And he's like, let me give it to you. And the shirt is sweaty and gross. And then he posted about it, and it was a mess. And I was like, girl, why would you take his fucking sweaty shirt? That's gross. It's like going to the gym and like wrapping up in someone's like dirty towel that they sweated in. It's just gross. Whatever. But we can't deny that she's not talented. We can't deny that she's not an artist, that she doesn't have a vision for her art. She's not excellent at her execution when she has an idea. I mean, she's definitely like a best-in-class female rapper right now. She's versatile in terms of her ability, her artistry. She's able to do pop, rap. She's giving all the things, and I'm here for it. I love her, and I'm excited. I'm going to focus on the art and not her personal stuff right now. And we'll talk about that later. But right now, I think we're about to embark in a whole new era of Doja Cat, and I'm going to be, I for one will be a part of it. I'm so excited. Okay. Nas X, we've been talking about Nas X since I believe Friday or Thursday when the reports came out about him being allegedly under some influence, acting erratic, walking the streets of LA in his underwear and these white boots that apparently were on sale on eBay. I don't know if they sold. I don't know if anybody bought them. I'm actually curious about that. I'll have to go and check on that later. Child, it's so much going on in the news cycle. The reason I chose pop culture, because there are a lot of niches I could have went in different routes. The cool thing about pop culture is I do need spontaneity and variety to keep me interested, because I get bored very easily. It's part of I'm neurodivergent. And so the cool thing about pop culture is there's always some shit going on. So every day with the Nas X video, there was like always a new update or something different coming out. And it was exciting and it was interesting. And it was like more layers to the story. I mean, they could have just told me everything from the beginning. That would have saved me a lot of time, but whatever. I mean, it just kept, the story kept evolving and developing more, and more details came out about it. So that's what makes this fun, honestly. That's what I do love about the pop culture niche. But there's more to me than that. I'm just into that only. Anyway, he's recently been, so we found out that he was hospitalized. He was in the hospital. I can't say it, you guys, I have a list. And then he got out, and then he was hit with 4 felonies. He's since been released from jail. I think he had like a $75,000 $1,000 bond. And he did a post and said, your girl is good. I really want to say this is my personal opinion. I am worried about Lil Nas X as a gay Black male who grew up in South Florida, which has a huge gay population, huge gay culture. It's it's a lot of fun. Let me tell you, best time of my life. Like the clubs, the bars, the shenanigan, the people are beautiful. I mean, Greek god bodies everywhere, drinks, you feel like you can be yourself. It's a vibe. It's so much fun. And like everything, it has its dark side. There's a lot of objectification. There's a lot of insecurities, drug abuse, unresolved issues. Just because you're gay and you're now accepted into a world that says, hey, it's great to be gay and you can be yourself here, there's still a lot of people that are wounded in that environment. There's a lot of predators in that environment. There's still toxic masculinity impacting the way we show up in that environment. So it's not for the faint of heart. And I've always navigated in a way that I felt kept me safe and kept me out of the mess so that I could enjoy it. Because if I was so into the gay scene, I feel like, yeah, it's easy to get into party drugs. I hope I can say that on here. And, just a lifestyle that isn't the healthiest. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not saying that all people are like that, but there is a sector in the community that is just, I don't think it's healthy and is about consumption and whether you're being encouraged to consume all of the things, or people are just consuming you as a product, as not connecting with you, but just consuming, like you're just like an object. And it's like your body or your body parts and not you as a person. And it can feel very empty. And so luckily I recognized that at a very young age. And I had great people around me that helped me navigate that, where it's like, I don't get deep into it, but I'm close enough to have fun. I'm adjacent. Oh, that's a good way to say it. I'm adjacent to the gay scene, but I'm not in the gay scene because there's nothing there. And after they suck people up dry, they spit them out and they go on with life. And like, it's just like on to the next. There's no reverence for that person and the impact of the community of that person. There's just another party, or there's a hotter person now, there's a younger person now, and they just go on. So it's not a place to sacrifice your well-being for. So I hope he gets the help that he needs. I said all that to say that. I hope he gets the help he needs, and that whoever he's around, that he has the right people around him that really genuinely care about him and his well-being, and he can just get his shit together, like, for lack of a better word. Because I do worry that sometimes when people don't really see the consequence of their actions, it just perpetuates. Like, you can put a Band-Aid on it and it's just going to get worse and worse. So, and I don't want that for Lil Nas X. Oh, wow, I have better notes than the notes I was using. Okay. Next note. So, Yolanda Adams' daughter has released new music. Yolanda Adams posted it. I'm a church boy, so y'all may not care about this. So this is for the church people. She released a new album, or she released a new song, or a song. It's kind of R&B, neo soul, sensual. My question to you, if you have not heard it, I don't have her name here, but she is her daughter, and Yolanda Adams did post it. So if you follow her on Instagram, you'll see it. What do you think about gospel artists, children, moving into like maybe secular spaces? How do you feel about that? And do you think that it matters? I mean, if my dad is a pastor, do I have to be a pastor? Or do I have to do gospel music? Or can I kind of create my own lane? But the most important thing is it okay for Yolanda Adams to use her platform, which is predominantly gospel-based, to promote or celebrate her daughter? I think that it's fine. I actually don't have a problem with it. It's still her daughter. I listened to the song. It's not extremely provocative in a way that's like inappropriate. I think it's tasteful. That's a good word to use. I think the song is tasteful. I think even the way she's dancing and moving is tasteful. Is it a little shocking because she's Yolanda Adams' daughter, and I expect her to go maybe in the lane of like oh my God. I'm thinking of Karen Clark Shear's daughter. Oh God. Kiki. I think her name is Kiki also. Anyway, where she did gospel music and kind of is taking on the legacy of the Clark sisters, like taking it to our generation, to my generation, because I'm older. Um, no, she's not doing that. And honestly, listening to her vocals, I don't know if she has the vocal range. You know, it was given very like whisper, like Janet Jackson. It was given much, barely enough. It was like if your mama wasn't Yolanda Adams, we wouldn't be listening to this, or we wouldn't even know you were putting out an album. But because your mama is Yolanda Adams, a gospel vocal goat, we're gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. But anyway, I would like to hear in the comments. And remember, comment, because I do read the comments. I respond to every comment that I have, because baby, I barely got any. Y'all can see these views. Now, my views on YouTube, YouTube Shorts are high. My views on TikTok are high, but I do want to get more traction or more engagement here. So please comment and subscribe. Share my videos with people that would be interested in it. We're creating a community, but I gotta have the community to create the community. So start commenting and let me know, guys, what you think. And if you don't want your comment here in the public, you can email me, DM me privately, one-on-one on my other social media platforms. My YouTube, it's Dan Franklin, Dan with 2 N's. Dan Franklin, that's my main Instagram, but there's also verified by Dan Franklin, or by Dan, verified by Dan with 2 N's. Just DM me there, and I would love to hear what you guys think about my video. If you see this video in a year and I got 10,000 subscribers, you can still send me a message and say, hey, I saw your video from a year ago when nobody was watching, and I want to give you some feedback. I love it. Give it to me. Okay, yesterday, the 25th, so today's the 26th. The 25th of August was the 24th death anniversary of Aaliyah. I did some social media. I was out with my cousin, and I misspoke and said it was the 23rd, which was incorrect. It was the 24th anniversary. I love Aaliyah. I've always loved Aaliyah. I remember when 1 in a Million came out, and like on the bus, we would do the beats on the bus. I remember us doing the beats on the desk at the school, and singing the songs. I remember the rumors about her and, R. Kelly, and being like, what? I remember when she put out, various songs, and how excited we were and how good her music was. I remember how beautiful she was. I remember how talented she was. And I remember when I remember I was in my room. I lived in Miramar, Florida, and I was in my room, and I was a night owl, so I would be up all night. And I saw it show up at the bottom of the screen on MTV, and it said Aaliyah, passes away in a plane crash in the Bahamas, and being like, no way. Like, this is not true. There's no way. And I remember thinking, like, when you're that young and an American, you're really sheltered from the realities of the world. Like, my biggest concerns then was like, making enough money to go buy clothes from, like, it's called Express now, but it was called Structure when I was a kid. I was like, oh, I want to get money to go to Structure, and I want to, like, get a new phone or something. Like, those were the things that I was thinking about. Or, back then we used to download music on Napster and LimeWire, and it was like stuff like that. I wasn't thinking about death. I didn't think about my mortality. And so I think that was the first time I realized that, death has no prejudice, that it doesn't matter if you are, beautiful, successful, young, full of life, if you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, or just things align, you could die. And that was the first time I realized that. And then on top of that, shortly after that, 9/11 happened. And so I was just really, it was a lot going on in the world at that time. It was 2001. And, but it really sobered me, made me really conscious of my actions, my decisions. Um, Although I was obviously dealing with clinical depression at the time, that I know now, but I really got like, oh, I can't just do anything. I can't just get in the car and be like, oh, nothing's gonna happen with me. I can't just be reckless with my body. I can't just think that there's no consequences. I realized at that age that there were a lot of consequences. And so, despite it being a tragedy, I felt like I use it as an opportunity to really like plug into what matters to me, and I focus on church, family, and the relationships that matter to me. And so I really do see, I remember her death being a pivotal moment for me to focus on what mattered to me in my life at that time. And I don't have any regrets about anything that I did. The one thing I would have done was maybe focus on like education more. But everything that I did at that age, I feel like I did what mattered to me. So when I look back, I go, wow, I valued my family. I valued my faith. I valued the relationships in my life. I made those priorities, and I'm proud. I'm happy I did that. I have no regrets. But shout out to Aaliyah, and you know, I definitely think that the world would be different in terms of entertainment had she still been here, because she was a pioneer. She was ahead of her time. Like, to think that that woman had the foresight she did at that age is amazing. All right, last but not least, now this is not pop culture, but this is definitely a bit of my little hood rat shenanigans that I talked about. I talked about the HUD, the fact that they were cutting HUD and our new administration and the impact they have. Well, apparently, and I wish I could show you the videos, I was researching it. There were a few months ago in the last few years on TikTok, people doing EBT dumps. Okay, I'd never heard of this because I don't have an EBT and I don't hang out with no one with the EBT. And I'm not saying I judge anyone with EBT because it is what it is. But I don't know anyone that has it or right now that I talk to that tells me this kind of things. And maybe I do know people that have it and they just don't talk to me. But apparently people were going shopping with their EBT card and posting all the stuff they got with the EBT and bragging about the amount of money they got through their benefits and what they were spending it. And people were outraged because, one, they were buying junk food with these EBTs, and people were also outraged because they felt like the people that were doing this were willing and able bodies that could work, and they just did it because they knew they would get these government assistance or they had so many kids. And so there were a few videos I saw where there were people bragging about, you know, oh, I get this much money, and then buying like all this junk food for their children. So with Robert Kennedy being the new vice secretary of whatever that impacts those different programs, one of the things, I think it's health and services, health food services. I can't remember off the top of my head, but you know what I'm talking about. There have been some reforms to how SNAP benefits are used, but they've only been implemented in certain states. I don't know depending on where you're watching this. I'm in Florida. I don't know to what degree these changes have impacted Floridians, but there are certain states that they've already implemented these changes. Something just happened with Britney Spears. It's probably something. Okay. All right. Sorry. I'm looking at my little updates. So, long story short, there are people now. So, there were people during the pandemic bragging about all the government assistance that they were getting, how they were using them, which is, you know, their choice because it was their money that they were given. But now some of these people apparently, allegedly, are coming back and saying their programs or the benefits they have either been slashed in half, and one woman in particular said her benefits were completely taken away from her, and it was due to her abusing them. I cannot speak to the specifics about that person because, again, I heard this doing research on TikTok, so I don't know if this is verified, but I do think that it is kind of a fuck around and find out situation with people that have been abusing government programs and bragging about it on social media. I mean, I'm an 80s kid, so I know about the whole welfare queen, Ronald Reagan talking points from the 80s. Um, so I've been aware of that. And, you know, there are people that are looking for any reason to take away access to healthcare, access to food, access to safe living situations to people that are marginalized or that don't have access to those things or can't provide those things for themselves. And I think you do yourself a disservice when you make a mockery of something that is intended to support you and people that are in need. But people are so reckless and irresponsible. They don't realize like their behavior, their actions don't just affect them, but they affect everybody. And if you're already in a situation where you need these programs, yeah, you're putting yourself and people like you in a situation where, people think you're not taking it serious. And so it's unfortunate because the only thing I can think about is it's not the parents, right, that I worry about, it's children. A child can't help that their parent is abusing or even bragging about abusing a system, but they're going to be impacted by, being being the child of that person or the kids of people that are in those situations. Children don't ask to be born in low income family. I love those little AI videos where the babies are like, yeah, like put me back. My parents are broke. I mean, because as you grow, those are real things. Like, if you're born into a family that is, financially struggling, you didn't ask for that. That's just what happens. You're either lucky by not having that or you get it. And so the impact of that is how those adults navigate life still impacts you until you're an adult. So it's sad to see that. If that is 100% true, I don't know. But apparently there are some states that have already implemented some changes. Now, on the flip side, I do want to speak holistically as much as I can. There are some critics that say this impacts people that are in low income areas that are basically, they're called food deserts, that there's someone that is either homeless, on government subsidized income living situations, and they don't have access to a grocery store that has fruits and vegetables. And I don't think I said this. They're still getting benefits. It's limiting what they can buy with the benefits, meaning they're not allowed to buy soda and candy and junk food. They're able to buy like actual food, like proteins, starches, vegetables with these government programs. I think that's great. But on the flip side, someone was saying there are people that live in environments that they don't have access to this, but they may use that, EBT card at like a corner store, and the most fresh food they may have is like bananas and fruit because they don't carry fresh vegetables. I don't know. I don't live in any environment like that, but I did want to acknowledge that this could impact people like that don't have access to it, even though. So I think whatever government agencies are implementing this, they definitely have to be aware of logistically how the people that they're making these changes to will be impacted, and specifically in their community. Not like a blanket statement, but like, yeah, if I don't have access to a Walmart or a grocery store, and I don't have a car, and I can only go to the corner store and maybe buy a frozen pizza or whatever for dinner, but I'm at least getting some nutrition, how do you limit my access to food? That's a really good question. And if you're going to implement this system, how do you make sure that I have access to the food that is authorized there? So that's a really good question, a really good point, and I hope they figure that out. And I hope that people stop, bragging about, abusing systems or sharing things that they probably don't need to share because it's going to cause more issue for them in the long run. I want to thank you so much for watching my video. I am Dann Franklin. I love you so much for watching. I'm growing this page. I'm working really hard on it. So I would love your support. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like, comment. I want to hear from you. If you don't want to leave a comment because you're like, hey, I'm private, send me a DM. Tell me what you think about the video. Tell me what you think I could do better, or something that you like. I love good feedback too, so don't just give me your complaints. Tell me how I can make this better for you and for other viewers, and how we can build a community. I really, really, really appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Say bye to Maddie. Hold on, Maddie's gonna say bye. Maddie, say bye. Maddie says bye. See you next time. Say bye. So I'm trying to end this live, but it's not letting me. That's weird. I hope nothing went wrong. I might have to edit it later, the ending, because yeah, this is not letting me end. Yes. Thank you.